Hey, hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for joining myself and Ted. We are here.
We are here, most certainly.
How's it
Another week
going,
with you
brother Ted?
guys. I'm here, happy to be alive. Looking forward to our discussion tonight. Oh boy.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's so much going on in the world. Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
Yep.
It's just there's so much. There's so much. But the two things that we're going to talk about today
hmm
is we're going to talk about this Iran war.
hmm
And we're going to talk about what our good Pastor Jennings had to say about the war.
hmm
Because there's all of these things floating around talking about Donald Trump is ushering in the Antichrist and all this other
hmm
stuff. So, yeah, we'll hear from our good pastor, and then we will get into this new secularism law in Quebec called Bill C-94, where we have, religious freedoms are basically being stripped from people who wear hijabs or head coverings, for religious reasons.
hmm
And we'll talk about how these people are losing their jobs left, right, and center. We'll hear from some of the people that have lost their jobs, and we'll talk about that as well. So those are the two
Yeah.
topics we're going to be talking about today. I see that Michael has already left us a message. Greetings, Emma and Theodore. I'm
Greetings,
in
Mike.
Winston. Mike is in Winston Salem for the second
Ah,
Southeast region. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he
nice.
said,
You go, boy.
yes, I know. I wish I was there too. So he said he
Yeah,
won't be here, but he said to say a prayer for him and
absolutely.
be encouraged, and to God be the glory. And then he also said that we should pray for our brothers and sisters in Iran.
Always,
And then
always, all
Teresa
day, every
has
day.
given us a big heart. Hello,
I see.
Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
So as I said, we're going to
hmm
talk about all of these theories that are floating around. And something, I've been hearing people saying that about Donald Trump, that he's the Antichrist. Either he is the Antichrist or
hmm
he's going to be the one ushering in the Antichrist. And
Yeah.
anyhow, let's hear from Pastor Jennings and then we'll talk about
we
it
get we
further.
chop it up. Absolutely.
Yes.
We can never thank God enough for the way of holiness, which is a blessing to all of us. Let us keep our brothers and sisters in prayer. I received a indirect text from Dubai. As you know, Israel and America bombed Dubai. And the brothers and sisters over there can hear the bombs and see the bombs. So they reached out to us by way of text. Pray that God keep them and God preserve them. Because when bombs drop, they drop anywhere. As America and the world continue to unravel at the seams, and it's not going to get no better because it fulfills prophecy, that it shall be wars and rumors of wars. There are many people online, I guess they call themselves prophesying that Trump is supposed to be the last president of America. Presidents will come and presidents will go. Someone posted that Trump will bring in the coming of Christ. You're just putting too much honor on the fellow. Whoever or whatever get in the White House gets in by God's permission, serve their time, and move on. There are many things that are yet have to be fulfilled before Jesus comes. Trump will not be ushering in the coming of Jesus. And I'm not sorry to disappoint you fellas. Read your Bible. There's a whole lot more that must take place on this earth before Jesus comes. Not one jot, not one tittle, Not one thing written in the Word of God leading up to the Lord's coming that's not going to be fulfilled first. Because Jesus said the scriptures cannot be broken.
And Jesus answered and said unto them,
Listen at this, viewers, and you that are here.
St. Matthew chapter 24 and at verse 4.
Yes.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed.
Take heed.
That no man deceive you.
Don't let no man. That goes to all the fellows online and women online and all of that stuff. Don't you let them deceive you.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ.
Many will come in my name, saying, I'm Christ.
And shall deceive many.
And shall deceive many.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of war.
Ye shall hear wars
and rumors of war.
And rumors of wars.
See that ye be not troubled.
Listen at this.
See that you don't
be troubled. Why?
For all these things must come to pass.
All these things must come to pass.
But the end is not yet.
I told you. The end is not yet. So you can be cool. Jesus ain't coming yet.
No.
And I advise you, don't rush his coming. Use this time wisely. Am I right, Isaac? Use this time wisely to make your calling and an election sure God knows. So pray for the brothers and sisters that are in Dubai, that God may keep them and God may preserve them and God may protect them as well. To all of the brothers and sisters.
Yep.
All right, my bad. Not ushering in the Antichrist, ushering in the Christ. But there are some people that are also saying he's the Antichrist and he's ushering in the Antichrist if he's not the Antichrist. So there's two things going on. But yes, Pastor Jennings addressed the whole ushering in of Christ.
There's a lot more that has to happen first before the Antichrist can even come on the scene. Because remember, the Antichrist will come on the scene generally after the whole one world system has kind of been put in place to kind of have unilateral control over everything. And remember, the Antichrist's signature will be the whole mark of the beast. So we can see the framework of that, yes, being fulfilled and going into play as I talk about centralized digital banking and all these things and the digital currencies and countries kind of going along that line, because especially with these wars now, countries are going to be over leveraged when it comes to the greenback and currency. So the next logical thing would be to go into a new direction by digitizing currency and centralizing. So the moment you see that become the order of the day, where our shopping habits and spending habits start to change, then you can really start to zero in on, okay, who is the guy now who's going to be the face of all this stuff? Then you know that's the Antichrist. But until then, this is just, he's doing his part to bring about the fulfilling of that, but he's not the Antichrist. So rest assured, folks, this guy...
His proximity to Christ is not going to be a thing.
Exactly.
You know, like Pastor Jennings said, we're putting too much on the fella.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Way too much on the fella. This is a man who literally will go walk up to some church and hold a Bible upside down. I mean, there's literally no, like, seriously, what are we doing here? I just want to say hello to Vanessa. Vanessa, hi.
Vanessa.
It has been a while. I hope all's good, and she wants to say hi to you too as well, Ted.
Hi, Vanessa. I know it's been a while. We know our regulars, but we know life is life, and so everybody comes and goes when they can. But shout out to our regular viewers when they can make it, and likewise we show up whenever we can make it. So
we
shout
appreciate
out to
you much. Yes,
absolutely.
So the other thing we were going to discuss, which probably is going to be even longer than this topic. But just in closing, we definitely praying for everybody, because at the end of the day, we want everybody to be safe. We don't want to hear that kids and all of this the amount of turmoil and the amount of casualties as a result of this war is really frightening.
It's tremendous. I just saw CNN today, so I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just saw CNN before I came on. I think a school was hit and
Yep.
over 180 people passed, including primarily students and children. It just broke my heart to hear that, you know?
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
sad. It's
yeah.
really sad. And we're feeling it here too with gas
Hmm.
prices and
Big
what
time.
have you. I mean, it's been a
Oh, yeah.
long time since I seen gas at a buck 56
Yes, thank God
a
where I
liter.
am. I just filled up before I came on the live, maybe an hour and a little bit before, and it was a buck 49.9, so just shy of a buck 50. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is crazy. And I'm know probably after midnight tonight, it's probably gonna go up again because you could
Yeah, they
hear in
said it's
60.
gonna be going up, and
Right.
we have a large SUV, so it's just like
Hmm.
now we're gonna really pick, choose, and
Yep.
refuse where we're
Fuse where we're
traveling
gonna
to.
go.
Oh my
Precisely.
gosh. 'Cause
Precisely. Because
you
I
and
have
I,
one
we
too.
live far from, like, the
Yep.
hub, right? So,
Yep. And
the
we're working a
thought,
budget.
like we
Hmm.
definitely have to pick, choose, and refuse.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my gosh. All right. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is this new secularism law in
Hmm.
Quebec that
Hmm.
is affecting people's religious freedoms.
Hmm.
It's called Bill 94. And like just to summarize it, what they are doing is they're restricting people from wearing head coverings, from praying in public, and it has started to affect people's jobs because
Hmm.
for obvious reasons they're not going to stop wearing their hijabs and their
Right.
head coverings.
Hmm.
The Muslim faith and holiness, we're
Right.
about wearing our head
Head
coverings,
coverings
right?
and
The
stuff.
women wearing their head
Absolutely.
coverings to
Hmm.
work or wherever.
Hmm.
So we're going to hear from an advocate that's speaking out for these people that got fired, and we're going to hear from some of the people that actually lost their jobs that are speaking out, and then we'll talk about it further because this whole thing with these religious freedoms being stripped. We'll
Hmm.
also talk about what's going to happen with pastors who are preaching against certain things, and
Hmm.
it's very cherry picked too,
Oh, yeah.
and what their outcome will be. So
Hmm.
let's just take a watch of this, and then we'll talk about it further.
All
Because
right.
something deeply troubling is happening in our country. Right now in Quebec, where I live, a provincial government that is at the bottom of the polls and on its way out is rushing forward an unprecedented wave of discriminatory legislation. These measures deliberately target minorities and people of faith. And as we speak, Canadian citizens are being refused services, losing their jobs, and being denied employment, not because of incompetence, not because of misconduct, but purely because of who they are and what they look like. Let's be clear about what that means. It means women are being coerced into removing their hijab or abandoning their professions. Citizens are being told their faith disqualifies them from participating in civil society. It means students and families are made to feel like strangers in their own country. For a country that has sacrificed so much to enshrine equality for all citizens and the protection of minorities in the law, this moment should alarm every single Canadian. It sets a precedent that can be used against everyone else. Our country risks going back to a dark time when people faced legalized discrimination based solely on how they looked. For example, I come from an Afro-Canadian family that has been in this country for 6 generations. When my father was born in 1949, black people did not have the right to go to university. My grandfather couldn't get a job at a factory because he could not gain participation in a union. We struggled for generations so that I could live in a country where I could study what I want and work where I want. And now, because of this legislation, members of my family are now, once again, being denied jobs because of what they look like. Canada has worked too hard and too long to move past these dark chapters of our history. We should not be reopening them. We've been told this law is meant to protect secular values in Quebec. Let us be clear. Nothing could be further from the truth. Whereas secularism upholds the neutrality of the state to allow for equal inclusion of all citizens, we are witnessing the exclusion of people based on their faith in an effort to render them invisible. And it's getting worse. The government is not stopping here. It has already tabled new legislation extending discrimination into the public sphere. This is destroying social cohesion, and perhaps even worse, it is destroying people's lives. Today, we will hear from women who have been victims of this legislation. This is an issue of critical urgency that demands national attention and immediate solutions. We are therefore calling for the following. 1. the federal government to clearly condemn the termination of these 12 women under Bill 94. The government is the guarantor of the Charter of Rights of all, for the charter rights of all Canadians, including Quebecers. 2, for the government to take immediate action to protect Canadian citizens against abuses of the Notwithstanding Clause. We can't simply wait for the Supreme Court of Canada's response. Given the real-time damage being done by these bills, including Bill 94, hundreds of Muslim women are staring down the prospect of losing their jobs. We have recommended a study on how the Notwithstanding Clause is being abused, and if the government doesn't want to take that route, we urge them to identify what their plan is.
My name is Aisha Khan. I'm a Quebecer. I'm an occupational therapist. First and foremost, I'm a wife and a mother of 2. I was born in Quebec. I built my life here. I raised my family here. My profession allows me to do what matters most to me, which is help people most in need. I help individuals regain their independence. After hardship, I help them rebuild. I turn my skills into real, tangible impact in people's lives. A busy schedule has never kept me from helping others. That's why a few years ago, I chose to start volunteering at my children's school. At first, I simply wanted to be present for them. They love seeing their mother involved in their daily activities. But very quickly, I saw the difference I could make for other children too, and for the staff who give so much of themselves every single day. Volunteering became a part of who I am. It's how I give back. It's how I help build the future generation of our nation. And now I'm being told I'm no longer welcome. I'm being told that the way I dress is a problem. That the rules have changed for women like me. That my volunteer work is no longer acceptable unless I change how I look. My headscarf, which has never interfered with my work, my integrity, or my commitment, is suddenly being treated as something children need protection from. As a healthcare professional, my faith has never interfered with my practice. I've always been judged on my competence and my ethics, never on my appearance. But today, the government of Quebec sees it differently. I've tried to understand how removing dedicated, well-intentioned volunteers makes our public education system stronger, but I still cannot understand it because there is nothing to understand. When I learned this, I felt hurt. I felt deeply hurt. I felt rejected for who I am. To have your willingness to help turned into something unwelcome by the very government that is supposed to represent and protect you, it's profoundly painful. And I worry about what comes next. If I can be barred from volunteering at my own children's school, what guarantees that I have tomorrow I will be okay, that my profession won't be questioned too?
My name is Naveen Wally. I'm a Quebecer, a wife, a devoted mother of 2 daughters and 2 sons. I was born and raised in Quebec. I've lived my entire life here, and my passion has always been helping children succeed in school. After 15 years in the business world, I've made what felt like a natural decision, which was to change careers and become a specialized educator. For years, I witnessed how deeply dedicated school staff are and how heavily they pay the price for the shortages in our public education system. Understaffing, overwork, and these are the daily realities that they face. And in that environment, children have real needs that cannot be ignored. Some of these children, including my own, require additional support to truly be able to thrive. Faced with that reality, doing nothing wasn't an option for me. So beyond my professional training, I chose to actively contribute as a volunteer at my children's schools. Parent committees, fundraisers, extracurricular activities, and for more than 10 years, I gave my time with nothing but joy and goodwill. And then suddenly, all of it became part of the past. The school, where I gave so much without ever asking for anything in return, informed me that I could no longer be involved. Not because I caused harm, not because there was a problem, not because my contribution wasn't valued or needed anymore, but because the government of Quebec adopted a new law in the name of secularism last October. And after years of helping, of bringing smiles to children and parents alike, I became undesirable overnight. When I was told this, I was angry. I was shocked, frozen. I never imagined that as a society we would ever reach this point. How can a woman's freedom to dress as she chooses disqualify her from giving her time in a place that needs it so badly? I will never forget the tears streaming down my daughter's face when she learned that I would not be allowed to participate in her graduating activities, as I had for all her other siblings. And to this day, her classmates still ask her why her mother no longer comes. How is a child supposed to answer to that? In more than a decade of volunteering, not once was my headscarf ever an issue. Our society faces serious challenges. I do not claim to have the answers, but I am certain that cutting resources in our schools and waging a witch hunt against religious symbols are not solutions.
My name is Fatima Anbari, and in late 2021, I lost my grade 3 teaching job in Chelsea, Quebec, because of Bill 21, a bill that bans people of faith from wearing religious symbols while working in several public service jobs, clearly infringing on our charter rights, but protected by the notwithstanding clause. I always refrain from saying I lost my job because of my hijab. My hijab was in no way interfering with my teaching responsibilities. I lost my job because of a law that decided my chosen identity was incompatible with my professional role as a teacher. Nearly 4 years later, I still think about what message that sent to my students. Because this was never just about me or my rights, it was also about what our young people are learning from this. Bill 21 teaches children that inclusion is conditional, that their rights are negotiable, and that contrary to what we teach them in the classrooms, their identity might one day be treated as a barrier, not as a strength. This also teaches them that our Constitution gives governments, from the perspectives of some until the Supreme Court decides, a loophole to override our fundamental freedoms.
Like, I honestly don't get it. Like, what? There are so many things that province needs to be focusing on, okay? Right. Especially anti-Black racism, because it's massive there. And there's about maybe 44,000 Black Muslims there as well. So, but just putting that aside, there are so many things, so many problems in that province that you are going to, I said Bill 94, which it's Bill 9, Secularism 2.0. They've changed the bill name so many times. I think now they've stood firm on Bill 21. So let me just correct that, because every time I do research, it's changing, ever changing. Right. But my point is that they're covering their head. It's not bothering anybody. I don't understand this province. I don't understand this government. It is absolutely uncalled for. Right. 12 people so far have lost their jobs, either as volunteers or as teachers, because of the fact that they are, wearing their head covering. I'm befuddled at this.
Well, it's funny because, like, if you think about from a religious standpoint, you also have a lot of Sikhs in Canada. And people in this community, they get to wear their head covering in the police force, in the military,
in the political realm.
In the political realm, exactly. So you see, again, to your point, it's cherry picking, because if you're gonna go after face coverings or head coverings and all that stuff, then you're gonna have to go after all coverings. But they know that that's a battle that they don't want to fight, so they're gonna go after the ones that they think that are winnable. And because you're getting such pushback, I believe that's why they keep moving the goalposts on these bills, trying to get one that will finally stick, and get their point across. But I don't know what's the big deal, because, as the ladies rightfully said, head coverings and all that stuff doesn't equate to competence, doesn't equate to authenticity, doesn't equate to or translate to a person's morals, right? So it's, at the end of the day, if a person gets hired for a job or they're volunteering and they're doing a good job, regardless of what they have on their head or on their face or whatever the case may be, they're qualified, competent, pass all background checks, and all these things shouldn't matter, because, as you know, this is how it starts. Really and truly, is an attack on people of faith. That's all it is, regardless of what faith you share. Once that door has been pushed open with a bill that removes certain things, and they're going to put subsects and subsections and clauses below, it opens up the doorway for others to tell you, okay, well, you can't preach anymore. You can't pray, as you said, anymore in public. You can't do and say certain things. Certain words will be now deemed illegal to say in public, and you could face harsh penalties for speaking your mind within a workplace capacity or in just everyday society. Imagine me and you standing in the public sphere chopping it up about Jesus Christ and our love for him. And somebody
And
could
we're
be
hauled
walking
off
by
in
there.
handcuffs.
Thank you. Somebody's walking by there. What did you just say? Skirt. And all of a sudden, no. Yep. Yeah. I'm offended by what they were discussing, even though it's a
Exactly.
private conversation. And this is the slippery slope that we're going on. Because once these bills are passed, the next generation of politicians, they're going to push the envelope a little bit further than the previous. It's almost like the same contrast with Israel. Each generation that came in the book of in the Old Testament, you remember they got worse and worse generation and moved further and further and further away from God till God had to punish them. Whereas the same principle with politicians. Each generation of politicians, you're gonna have some that are either going to stand up more than the previous generation, or you're gonna have another set that pushes the envelope than the previous generation for the worse, not for the better. And once you create these bills, I guarantee you're going to have another bill that's coming that's even more ferocious than that bill. That's going to push the envelope that much further, where now it's fully outlawed, or if not fully removed, that you're not even allowed to practice your faith, whatever it is in this country. Because, Canada prides itself on being the first and neutral, if you notice, including very bad decisions that we can talk for hours and hours about. You know what I'm talking about, that particular community. It's amazing how their stuff gets rubber stamped.
Very protected.
And shoved down your
very
and
protected
right.
group.
But everybody else now is demonized. Because I am one of those persons who I can tell you, a little bit of my backstory, where I was basically during the time of the pandemic, I suffered when I put in my religious exemption and was not recognized. And this was before they did a preemptive strike on that, prior to the rollout of the whole mandate. So they know what they were doing. They're very intentional about what they're doing and about removing people's right to choose and right to practice their faith however they see fit, because at the end of the day, they want their agenda pushed through and they don't want nobody standing in their way. So it's an attack on people's faith,
Oh, big time. I mean, this particular bill is only relegated to Quebec for now.
For now.
And
But
the
eventually.
notwithstanding clause
Mhm.
prevents people from challenging them legally. And so
Precisely.
that now these people that are in Quebec that are wearing head coverings, they really don't have a leg to stand on, because they made sure to shield themselves in that regard. And then here in Ontario, they're trying to fight the religious freedoms as it relates to pastors and street preachers out in the streets preaching the good word of God. And all it takes is, so basically what they're doing is they're stripping the protections that used to be in place.
Absolutely.
For people to be able to be out
Practice their
preaching
faith.
and whatever.
Yep.
So now, like Ted just gave an example, I'll just reiterate what happens is, a street preacher is out there quoting scripture about the alphabet soup community. And all it takes is one person to say you are inciting hate. And there's no longer an investigation. There's no longer a crown. There's none of that. All of a sudden, you're arrested.
You're gone.
Same goes for pastors. And, we talked about this already, but I'll just say, look, you don't have to be in the church for people to see what you're preaching about. Right.
Absolutely.
So there's YouTube, there's all of these things now. So really and truly, if they wanted to see what you're doing, they can see what you're doing.
Absolutely.
People are sharing, for example, Pastor Jennings, people are sharing his sermons and clips all over TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
I
YouTube.
push it every chance I get, everywhere,
people
every
have their
platform.
own channels that are doing it. And he talks, he preaches about it.
Absolutely.
And he brings he obviously certifies it with the scriptures. But we have a minister here. His name is Mark Miller, who is challenging the scriptures, in particular, the book of Deuteronomy, Leviticus, and Romans. And he says there are passages in there that incite hate. And he the example he used is hate against the alphabet soup community.
Okay.
So
So
That
how
was
is
the
it he's
only
doing this?
example of hate.
Right.
Not anybody else. Not
Right.
our community. Nothing else. Just that community. And so he's really pushing for it to be a crime. And
Mm-hmm.
so here, if you do that and you get arrested, you can serve up to 2 years in jail. That's what the bill says so far.
Right.
Has it
Right.
been officially passed? I've not seen it yet.
Right.
But I know that there's movements to make it happen. So we have Quebec,
Mm-hmm.
and just to read some of the other, just to go over this bill. So it says the law applies to teachers, school principals, police officers, judges, crown prosecutors, and other government employees. So it's not just teachers. And then they've
Right.
expanded the measures to say that the rules include staff in subsidized daycares, colleges, and universities.
Mm-hmm.
School and volunteers. The ban now extends to all school staff, including support workers and volunteers. So we heard about from a couple of volunteers who have been told
Right.
goodbye. And then
Yep.
face coverings. The law mandates that the state services be provided and received with the face uncovered.
Right.
Okay. So then we have public space restrictions. Newer, stricter rules include bans on public prayer in specific
Mm-hmm.
public spaces like parks without authorization, as well as the elimination of prayer rooms in public institutions. So that, you know how you got church,
Oh yeah. Chapels. You
not,
have
sorry,
this and
hospital
yep.
churches, hospital
Yes.
chapels, and places
Chapels
like
and
that.
all
So
stuff.
now they're saying
Mm-hmm.
they want to,
Get rid of those
you know,
things. Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I was saying, the notwithstanding clause,
Right.
shields anybody from trying to challenge this bill.
Mm-hmm.
And then in regards to court challenges too, the law is heavily contested and has been
Mm-hmm.
challenged by civil liberty groups such as the CCLA and CCM, which case is expected to reach the Supreme Court. So they are still fighting. It's
Right.
just they've already protected themselves.
Right.
So, critics are arguing that this appropriately affects Muslim women who wear the hijab, forcing them to
Right.
choose between their faith and their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I have to say. Leave that province.
Right.
I grew up there. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in Quebec. And let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
something. When I think about it, and I say this moreover,
Right.
I grew up there in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Okay.
Right.
Nothing has changed.
Yep.
It has
Good old
only
Quebec.
actually gotten worse because
Mm-hmm.
not only are they trying to strip people of their religious freedoms, they also want to separate. They are now targeting places that are still displaying things in English language. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta only have French, and all of this stuff is going on there because they have
But
been
you see
moving.
the hypocrisy. The
Uh,
rest of Canada has to accommodate the French language, but they are not required, based on what they're now doing, to accommodate anybody else. Remember, you're a small portion of Canada that speaks French. Not everybody speaks French. So unless they're trying to say everybody else that doesn't speak French is unwelcome,
that's
that's
the
what you
goal.
try.
The
So
goal is
clearly,
to
that's the
either
goal.
learn French, get in line, or get out.
Or get out. So
Because
clearly,
what they're
yeah,
going to do
and
is make it very inconvenient for you. You're not going to be
precisely
able to work, and they're targeting businesses as well. Businesses
right.
have to have a specific, like they are literally auditing businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other day, I read that there was a business who was posting on their social media their
Right.
menu. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant, and they were contacted by the
Mm-hmm.
government to
Mm-hmm.
say, you had better put French on there. They got in
Mm-hmm.
trouble. So that's my whole point, is that you
Right.
don't have to be,
Hypocrisy.
anybody doesn't have to walk into their
Mm-hmm.
restaurant or the church to
Mm-hmm.
target them. It's
No,
on all over social media.
absolutely.
So they
And it's a
saw
double
what they were
standard.
posting on social media,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, you're gonna get fined. This is
Mm-hmm.
what's going on there. So I
Mm-hmm.
will say this again.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Muslims, people in the way of holiness, Black people in general, get out of that province
Yeah.
and let us see how they will fare.
Well, unfortunately, they could care less because the order of the day nowadays. You see what's going on to with our neighbors to the south. It's almost at the same drive. They're trying to cleanse ethnically through deportations and all these things people that don't look like them under the guise of illegals.
But they have to
Because
realize the power that, and the skill and
they
everything
don't
that they'll be
care.
losing. They
They
will be
don't care.
losing it.
They're just
They
like what
sometimes you have to
started the
burn to learn. They're gonna have to feel it.
yes,
Yeah.
because just like the nearsightedness that the leader had that is now causing a war in the Middle East, they never stop to count the cost long term of your decisions. It's the same thing. Everybody is pushing their agenda for the short term and for the minority, and not thinking about the long term and the majority.
Yeah.
So so everybody's becoming increasingly selfish, and that's again fulfillment of scripture. In the last days, men will become lovers of themselves, and their hearts will wax cold. So you can see that nobody cares about people's feelings, people's thoughts, people's contributions. Like the ladies said, they were volunteering all those years, and just like that, gone. Your time doesn't mean anything to them. Your sacrifices doesn't mean anything to them. Your intention
You're
doesn't mean
just a
anything to them.
commodity.
You're
Yeah.
exactly.
But
And this
then
is
the ones
unfortunately.
who are actually getting paid, like earning an income, now you're
Hmm.
stuck. And then the
Hmm.
problem is, any other place they go,
Hmm.
the same thing can happen. Oh,
Absolutely.
you're wearing a hijab? Nope, we're not
Hmm.
hiring you.
Yep.
It's. I'm just gonna go to the chat real quick. Vanessa says this is crazy. Another reason why melanated people should stick together and let our beliefs become second.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
once again, this is so sad and horrible at the same time. It really
Hmm.
is.
It really is because.
Hello, Miss Obsidian Reloaded. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
this is sad. It's really
It's very
sad.
concerning. Yes, this is very
Very concerning.
concerning. Yeah,
And
it doesn't
again, I
matter.
just wonder if, that's going to be layered into whatever's already going on here that they're trying to push, the bill.
Absolutely. You know it's coming,
And
Emma.
when?
Listen,
And when?
the enemy's
This is why
tactics
we as
is
Black people, we have to have our own businesses. We got to
yeah.
have our own businesses, where we can do what we want. I'm fortunate and grateful that I don't have to
Hmm.
leave my house to work. I
Hmm.
literally sit right here in my home
Hmm.
studio, and I don't, nobody can tell me
Right.
you're fired because you're wearing a head covering or
Hmm.
any of those things, and that's the importance of entrepreneurship. That's the importance of,
Absolutely.
that's why I say, like, nurses and doctors and teachers and
Hmm.
stuff, take your talents elsewhere.
Hmm.
Take them
Hmm.
elsewhere. Take
Yeah,
them
it's
elsewhere.
time for
I mean, Ontario's probably going to start that nonsense here too, but there are so
no
many other
problem. It's
places to go.
coming. You have to
Yeah,
remember each generation of politicians. Remember, if you look at the
yeah,
current cross section of the age that's being represented in politics, the age of the people that are elected generally reflects the mindset. So if it's a younger crowd, they're usually more fearless, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Or they're usually more reckless. The older generation generally could be more conservative, and sometimes they use that word conservative to be racist, to be
yeah,
prejudicial. So they had on the guy, oh, we're conservative. Yes, I can understand the principle of conservatism, but sometimes that's code word for being racist or a cover for being racist or
facts.
prejudicial. So I would caution people, yeah, pay close attention to who you're putting in office as elected officials, because I'm telling you, each generation is going to push the envelope more and more and more. And what you see going on in Quebec is festering. Just all it takes is a match being lit. Look at
Yeah,
what happened to the south of us. A match was lit with the rhetoric. And now look what happens. It's like a big boom across the country, where you have these ice situations, you have these rising current situations, you have these rising racial exchanges where people that go back to your country off of one person fueling the fire through rhetoric. And he's a leader. Well, a politician is a form of a leader. So if he starts this type of rhetoric, it's just a matter of, it's like a brush fire. Once it starts, eventually it's going to grow into a full blown wildfire, and it's going to start to consume everybody. right? And it's a mindset. And when you start these little mindsets with subtle racist undertones, that's why a lot of them are being repackaged. Oh, it's not a racial issue, it's not a racist issue. It's a human rights thing. We want to know who we're dealing with and all this stuff. Yeah, right. It's a racist issue, masquerading as this issue and that issue. Because for years we've been dealing with people with head coverings. For years in Canada. They talk about
I can't even even in the winter, we have to put on something. I can't imagine.
Is that double standard? It's hypocrisy. That's my point.
It's ridiculous to me. Again, there are bigger problems, and that's a whole other segment to go through the list of issues that this whole country has going on. And head coverings is not one of them. Head coverings doesn't offend anybody. There are bigger issues going on. Even
remember during COVID?
In that province, there are way bigger problems. And this is what you are focusing on.
But
and
look at the
you were
hypocrisy.
just saying about Trump, I always say this, his words have weight.
Absolutely.
When he started talking about Somalis,
right.
Look what happened.
That's my point.
Community.
There is power in the tongue.
About Haitians eating the cats and dogs and pets. Look what happened.
People actually believe that stuff.
Community. When he was referring to COVID as the China virus, people were getting attacked left. I should say
that's
people.
What I'm trying
Chinese people, and some of them weren't even Chinese. Just Asian. Were getting attacked left, right, and center, and they were just minding their business, going about their day. So yes, absolutely.
Words have power. Yes, your words have power, and especially if you have an audience or you have the position to be in a position of power or have a platform of sorts. Your words carry weight. You can motivate, you can activate, or you can, you can also cool the situation based on your words. So when you have politicians talking like this, believe me, there's more to it than what you see. And it's coming. It's frustrating because, like I said, Ontario is doing similar things on a different scale. And once those two start to do it, it's going to spread like a wildfire to other provinces that are, less diverse in this country. Know that goes. Once the big provinces start to do it, it's going to catch on to the so-called smaller provinces population-wise, and the movement will spread coast to coast. So this is a very dangerous game that they're playing,
Yeah, so I say again, since the law applies to teachers, school principals, police officers, judges, crown prosecutors, and other government employees, pack up and leave that province, because if you're trying to fight a non-withstanding clause is second to impossible.
Yes, it's built in. It's intentional. That's what they do.
They make sure of that.
That's what they do.
You can be tied up for years.
Absolutely.
While you can't work.
Absolutely.
So it's time to make some
meant to break you
about where you're going, and get the heck out of there. Vanessa says the U.S. sets a standard for the way all melanated people are treated, but this time it's directed towards the so-called POC, not blacks yet. Well, Vanessa, there are black people who wear head coverings all the time too, right? And so those black people here are also a part of this group that will be
subject to the same thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because in Canada we tend to have a more diverse population, more so than America. America, your population is diverse as well, but they're more centralized in some areas. But Canada on the whole, there's hardly anywhere you can go in Canada, coast to coast, where you don't see diversity. You know what I mean? So it's a huge issue in Canada here. And I believe, like I said, there's a racist undertone. I believe our 100%. Counterparts believe, like, if you look at the birth rate, for example, they're talking about the decline in birth rate because people are having less and less children. And if you think about all these little factors that you hear coming from them being reported on, I think a lot of them deep down are being threatened by the population boom.
Oh, they already are threatened.
Right. So they believe that they're being left in the dust. So now they're trying, this is their little way of clawing back certain things. It's like they want you to look like them, be like them, act like them, so they can feel better and comfortable about what they're doing or what they're not.
And they want to run you out.
And they want to run you out as well, just like you see what's going on in this thing.
They don't,
Absolutely.
they want to do the ethnic cleansing. So
That's
now
right.
they're
Yeah.
looking at, okay, how can we make
Can
things
we
so uncomfortable and inconvenient for
precisely,
them, where
precisely,
we know how much that they are, dedicated to their faith.
right?
So how
We
can
can
what can
weaponize
we
that against
do?
them. Absolutely,
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
the premier of Quebec was talking about how he finds like that this prayer and stuff is distracting. It's like they're a public menace to traffic and stuff. I have never seen a Muslim person jump in the street and put a mat down and be disrupting traffic.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
why are they going to put themselves in harm's way?
Hmm.
Secondly, that he's talking about in public places like in parks and stuff like that,
Hmm.
or on subways. They're not again. They're not
Hmm.
bothering anybody just
Hmm.
because they kneeling down and praying. They're not bothering anybody.
Well, look
I've
at the
never felt
hypocrisy. You
bothered
know,
or
I work
offended by it at all.
right.
So,
But look at the
it's
hypocrisy. You know, I work in the transit
such
system,
hypocrisy.
and just like you have buskers in the summer, you have people that come on public transit all the time and play their music loudly, and with their
Exactly.
harmonicas and the guitar. A lot of people don't say anything about it. They sit back. That who likes it, who don't
And
like
they
it
may
tunes
throw
them
some
out.
coins in.
Exactly, and right. So you want to cherry pick what you endorse and what you demonize, which is not fair,
Exactly.
because the same inconvenience to somebody. A lot of times I don't like the music choice that I hear in the transit system in Toronto. But guess what? That's me personally. I don't like it. Other people may like it, and I can't force my will upon you because I don't like it and you like it. So guess what I do? I tune it out, or I go somewhere else so I don't have to hear that stuff. Simple.
Exactly.
That's what a smart individual does, because we live in a diverse society. So what you may like, I may not like, and vice versa. So we have to learn to live in harmony by simply learning to have thicker skin, ignore certain things, or remove yourself, like you're saying, from the equation. Simple.
Exactly. We have
But
people on TTC with mental health issues. People are attacking people on this
mhm,
TTC. Those
mhm,
are safety issues. They should be
absolutely.
focusing on the amount of people with mental health
Hmm.
challenges that are
Hmm.
riding around on TTC,
With
attacking bus
weapons,
drivers,
attacking people.
attacking
Hmm.
passengers that are
Hmm.
just minding their business, trying to get to
Hmm.
their destination.
Hmm.
You have a bigger problem there,
Right,
okay, than
right.
somebody praying on the subway
Absolutely.
and calling that
Absolutely.
so it is the
Exactly.
peak of hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy,
The
big time,
peak
and
of
double standard.
hypocrisy.
Yep. Yep. But as I said, this is what people do to feel better about themselves, especially if they think they're being threatened, and their population may be in decline. They hide under these things, trying to,
Yeah.
like I said, ethnically cleanse either a country or a state, or in our case,
Take
a
back
province.
Canada.
Yeah,
All this
yeah, exactly.
nonsense.
Yes, that's right. That's the
Canada
dog
First
whistle.
movement.
That's
All
the
this.
dog whistle.
Yep.
That's the dog whistle. So you hear, this is what I talk about, and it's no different in America. You'll hear the dog whistle, cleaned up and stuff. But we can see it for what it is. We're not stupid. We've been dealing with this stuff for
Exactly.
centuries. So we know exactly where this is going. There's nothing new under the sun. But
Mm.
it's going to be to your disadvantage if we don't change your ways.
That's what I'm
Because,
saying.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like I said, they'll find out.
yeah,
Keep that
they
up.
will.
They'll find out.
Yeah,
They will
they're gonna
find out
realize
the indelible contributions that they are about to lose. And then
absolutely,
next thing you know, you're going to hear them saying, we have a shortage. We're struggling with a
absolutely,
labor shortage. So now we're
absolutely.
going to start a temporary foreign worker program. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it's only a matter of time.
Oh
And
yeah.
Vanessa says, but here most of them are considered and under the guise of white. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I said POC, because here there is really no way to differentiate the two. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
really? That's interesting. That's
Mm,
interesting.
I see. Okay. Yeah. In Canada, there are people very proud of their ethnic backgrounds, so it's usually more prevalent and easily identifiable. We have a proud Pakistani community here, proud Indian community, proud Asian community, and they'll let you know where they're from: Korean, China, Japan, wherever. And Jamaicans are very proud here, or African brothers and sisters are very proud. So everybody, it's one of the beautiful things, especially around Toronto and Canada on the whole, but especially in Toronto. A
Yeah,
lot of
Toronto.
us, yeah, we go to the same schools together. We're going to the same workplaces together. And you do have some racial stuff for sure, but you
Oh,
do
yes.
also have mutual understanding as well, where people celebrate and respect each culture, you know? So it's one of the best and the worst things about living in Toronto, the diversity. It's just very negative when people don't respect the diversity. You know, they see diversity as a problem, you know, but for most level headed people like myself and Emma, we love diversity. There's so much you can learn because I look at all nations like like a flower bed with different flowers. I try to look at people the way God looks at us. You know, a beautiful flower bed with all these different colors of flowers and this roses and lilies and that and that. That's the human race. And that's how we're all
Exactly.
supposed to look at it. It's enriching. But some people just want to keep the flower bed exclusively one way or exclusively that way. And they don't really want any diversity in the flower bed. And that's the problem. And this is their way of slowly going into the flower bed and going, oh, don't want you, oh, don't want you, oh, don't want you, oh, don't want you, and slowly transplanting what they want in the flower bed, which is more people that looks at themselves or believes the way that they believe in stuff, you know. But it's not gonna happen. Can't
Exactly.
stop it.
And you know, when I was on the corporate plantation, there
Mm-hmm.
were certain occasions that would happen that I did
Mm-hmm.
not take part in, like for
Right.
example Halloween or
Yes.
Christmas, and
Myself.
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
take part in the potlucks and the secret Santas, and
Mm-hmm.
Halloween time too. They would
Mm-hmm.
have these who has the best Halloween contest,
Right.
what is it, costume
Costume. Mm-hmm.
contest, and even at Christmas time it was a lot of ugly sweater
Mm-hmm. Yes.
contests and all
Yes.
these other things,
Yes.
and even
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they would have like gambling night, and I
Mm-hmm.
never took part in those things because I
Mm-hmm.
made it clear. I would send an email to HR, and I was sorry,
Mm-hmm.
my dog just came in. Let me just
It's all good.
I would yes, my dog wanted to come and join the podcast. But yeah, I would send an email to HR and say, listen, stop sending me invitations to this,
Mm-hmm.
and this. I can
Mm-hmm.
only imagine now
Mm-hmm.
the rabbit hole we're going to be going down, where we're going to get to a point, and you heard it from me here,
Mm-hmm.
where you're going to be either you get in line and you become a team player
Mm-hmm.
and you partake in these things. It's all part of being, part of the team and
Tolerant
what
and this,
have
that, and
you.
that. Yep.
Yeah,
No,
it's only
no,
a matter
no.
of time.
Yep.
If
I
you're
believe you.
already saying you
I
can't
believe
pray,
you.
you can't wear
Mm-hmm.
a head covering,
Mm-hmm.
what it I mean, the sky's the limit of all the
Mm-hmm.
things that are
Absolutely.
going to become restrictions. And that
Mm-hmm.
is why I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
we got to make sure we got our own stuff going on, multiple income
Yeah.
streams. So,
Yep.
you got your full-time job, but you got to make sure
Mm-hmm.
you're prepared because,
Mm-hmm.
already having to deal with potentially being laid off because we know the
Mm-hmm.
economy's horrible right now. People
It's
are
getting
losing their jobs
worse.
left, right, and
It's
center.
yep.
So you
It's
got
getting
that
worse.
going on. Then you can lose
Mm-hmm.
your income because of what you stand for, your
Mm-hmm.
values. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's got to make sure they're
Absolutely.
prepared, so that you're not in a position where you're in a homeless encampment somewhere
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you're standing by your values.
Absolutely.
And I'm one of those people. If it violates my values, I'm not doing it. It's
You
not
know, I can
happening.
attest
Don't
to that.
call me.
Yep. Yep. Been there, done that. Oh yeah. So I've suffered at the hands of standing up for my faith, and I wouldn't do. I would do it all over again. Wouldn't change anything, because it made
Yeah.
me more militant. It made me prove God even more for myself, that God never leaves nor forsakes you. And like you said, to your point, I would implore people, especially, learn to be more resilient in Christ. Let God order your steps and tap into your natural talent, whatever your talent is. The
Yes.
Bible talks about the gifts of God is without repentance that He gives us, and it'll make room for you. A lot of you
Yes.
guys are living everybody else's dreams except your own. A lot of you guys are wasting you've shelved your talents chasing a bag, and you're not happy. And that same chasing your bag stuff is gonna, like Emma said, put you out of work when these policies get shoved down your throat. So learn to be resilient. Learn to, if you can, start your own businesses, especially online, work from home. That gives you more time with your family, so we can get back to family values, get back to moral values that we need to impart onto our kids and our grandkids and all these things. Because I'm telling you, The more you chase the bag, is the more you're gonna be very depressed. When things don't go your way, especially given the current climate in the world. It's no longer a Canadian thing. This is a worldwide thing, and no longer an
Yeah,
American thing. This is a worldwide thing. It's the beginning of sorrows, folks. The
it
Bible
is.
didn't tell us it's going to
And
be
it's only
localized to
just
one area.
begun.
It's only just begun, and you can see it already. If gas
Yeah.
prices go up, food prices is going to go up too.
Oh my goodness. Well,
So
yeah,
it's
because all of those, the truckers and all of that,
precisely.
exactly,
Trains need fuel, trucks need fuel,
exactly.
planes need fuel.
Planes need
So
fuel.
everything is going to be affected. So you have to start to plan, and make moves to benefit yourself and your family, because I'm telling you, there's a wave coming of uncertainty. And if you don't plan, you're going to be in a lot of hurt. So, if
Yeah,
I
you
can
don't
implore
want
you
to be
guys,
in a position where you're tapping into your RSP or a 401k, because then that's your savings that's outputting, nothing's coming in, right?
been there, done
So,
that. See? Yep. I can
right.
attest to that. And it's not what you want to do, but unfortunately, it happens.
It
Life
happens.
happens. So, yeah. So learn from that and do something. Go ahead, Emma.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, Vanessa just said she's 63 years old. Vanessa, you look amazing.
Oh,
And she
nice.
said she
What?
loves diversity as well. It can be challenging, but it's worth the
Yes.
challenge.
It's
Yeah, I love
absolutely.
diversity. The only thing
hmm
I don't like is if you're discriminatory to me.
Yes. Me
And
too.
we
It's my
we
biggest pet peeve.
experience that, and it's like,
hmm
well, hang on a second, you're not.
Better than me. And I don't think I'm better than you. So what's the problem?
Yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
thing I don't like. But I
Yeah.
love trying
I love
different things,
diversity.
different
Me too.
foods, different
Me too.
cultures. I love it.
Cultures. Oh yeah.
Love it. If
Diversity
you
is a
love me,
wonderful.
I love you.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
so that's the only thing I don't like. But and I
hmm
love. By the way, I love America too. I
Oh
love the
yeah.
United
Listen,
States. Love it.
we love people, period. Wherever you're
Period.
from, period. We just love people.
Period.
Yeah, we're not one of those persons that pick and choose like these criminal politicians, pick and choose who we like to associate ourselves with and disassociate ourselves with us. We love dealing with people, period, regardless of what
Period.
background you're from. As long as we share the same values and you're not trying to unalive me and my family or people I care about, we cool.
That's
you
the
know,
whole
you
thing.
don't have to believe
You
my
know.
faith. I don't have to believe in yours, but we can be respectful. We can get along. I got neighbors that are awesome that are not Christians, but because of how we conduct ourselves, they've been a blessing to me because God has made them a blessing to me. Shovel my driveways in the winter, all these things. Why? Because of how we conduct ourselves as believers.
Exactly.
So, diversity is good. It's a wonderful thing when embraced the right way, you know. So,
Exactly. And that's
yeah.
really what it boils down to. Be kind
hmm
to each other. The last
Absolutely.
time I went to our church
hmm
and Minister Brown was preaching,
Brown.
he preached
hmm
about love, and he
hmm
preached about the importance of loving even your enemies, how difficult
Absolutely.
that is, no matter
We,
how difficult it
yep.
is.
We
And
gotta
but
do it.
that
hmm
doesn't mean you got to be bosom buddies and lifelong
No,
friends. You can
that's not
still
what
love
that
them from
means.
a distance.
Absolutely.
And everybody was like, "Ooh, that's a hard one."
Yes.
Especially if
Yep.
you're being like racially attacked and stuff. It's like, "But I
Absolutely.
still love you," So it's just like,
hmm Yeah.
but we
hmm
do, we
hmm
try, we
We
strive. I know for
strive.
me, that's still a
A
challenge,
tough thing to
but
come up to. Yep. Believe me, we all got stuff to come up to.
oh,
No front over
definitely.
here. Yeah, we all got
Woo,
stuff to
I
come
was
up
like,
to. Yeah.
Minister Brown, this one's this is
Is
the
a,
book.
is it?
This part is the book in the book of pain
Yep.
is a
Yep.
hard one.
Yep.
Vanessa says, I love Canada. In fact, the world. I'm glad I got to travel outside the country. It gives you
hmm
perspective. It sure does.
Yeah, man. We got
I've
none love for you
traveled
too,
to
Vanessa. Yeah,
so
we
many
love our American
places.
brothers and sisters. Absolutely.
Oh, love it. I've been to so
Yeah.
many places in America. I've traveled to
hmm
so many places: Barbados,
Yeah.
Jamaica, Antigua, you
Mm.
name it. I've been
Oh
everywhere.
yeah.
Not or almost
Nice.
everywhere. I still have some
hmm
things on my bucket list that I haven't gone, but
Yeah.
I am a traveler. Love it.
hmm
But anyhow,
Yeah.
family, thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to say again, praying for Iran
hmm
and just everybody, our brothers and sisters in Dubai
hmm
and even in the United
Everybody
States. I'm
affected by
praying
this
for
war.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Americans,
and
to my
including
American
us,
brothers.
and in the
Yes.
United States
Yeah.
too. Food,
Yeah. Absolutely.
gas, the economy in general. Just
hmm
praying for everybody, and everybody
hmm
lean on his lean on his everlasting
Lasting
arms.
love. hmm In arms,
You
absolutely.
we must.
Yeah, absolutely. Be careful, my American brothers and sisters. Don't
Yes.
become a casualty of a war that you didn't ask for and you didn't start
Yeah.
because of your leader. So be careful where you travel. Be
Yes.
mindful where you go, especially outside of America, because you're going to become soft targets for people who can't get at the country at large. So they'll try to get at you as a means
Yes.
to get back. So just be mindful where you go,
Be
please, and be
very, very
careful out there.
careful.
Yeah, because we
Mhm.
don't want anything to happen to you guys. As much as we don't support what some of your leaders are doing down there, we do love our American brothers and
We
sisters or
sure
anyone
do. We love
affected by the
y'all.
wars. Absolutely. So be safe out there. Be careful. We love you guys.
Thank you so
Until
much for
next.
joining. Love. We shall
Absolutely.
see you on the
Absolutely.
next one.
Absolutely. God
Bye.
bless. Have a wonderful week. See you guys next week, God's willing.